Hello, 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 all. It is I, the host of this podcast that you're listening to, which is entitled "The Spectre of Anti-Blackness." Um, Welcome back. It's been a little bit of a while. I took a break after I concluded the Underground Railroad series, um, and life has been busy. I've been up to a lot, so I haven't really had time to get back into it. I've been wanting to for a little while now. And I decided, hey, I'll shave some time out of my day and dedicate it to this. So here we are. We're back with another episode. We are watching a film I thought was good, but before we get into it, which you already know what it is by the title of this, presumably. Um, but I wanted to address some things. Namely, okay, two things, namely, that I can think of right now. Maybe more later, but these are technically about previously recorded episodes. The first thing, I'll go by episode chronology. I was gonna say chronological order, but the first one being the no black video game characters episode. I'm finding it a lot more common in video games. I'm noticing it a lot more. Um, to update us on Overwatch, Sojourn, her name, I believe. Um, the new first black female character that they're adding. Um, she is Canadian. Big surprise there, and she's actually been confirmed to be Canadian for a while. Like since they announced her, I'm pretty sure. I was just out of the loop. I don't do a lot of research before I do these. Maybe I should if we're going to be talking about things. Um, but yeah, I wasn't really going to circle back to that. I was just going to let that episode just kind of lay where it lies. But I read an article today, and if you know me, you know that I'm not a big fan of articles. I mean, I enjoy like reading and I enjoy learning things, but I feel like articles are just the worst way to do it. For a myriad of different reasons. One of them being the clickbaitiness of articles. It's like, oh, this long, lengthy title when I could really just say, the answer of the thing in the title. I can't really think of an example of that right now. Um, but it comes up a lot. It'll be like, oh, this guy said this one thing at this place, and it's gonna surprise. Like, just say, guy said this, and if I want to learn more about it, I'll click on your article. Like, you don't have to try and reel me in with like this. It makes me not want to click on it. For one, I mean, maybe that's just me. Maybe other people, maybe that grabs them up. But for me, it grinds my gears. The other thing is what I call fake articles, which is where you have these journalists or whatever who write articles for BuzzFeed or whatever the entity is, and of course they're just trying to get paid and they gotta make content because that's the world we live in. I understand that, but she'll have like it'll be like, oh, this thing happened. Someone said a thing on Twitter, right? And then I click on it, wanting to learn more about it, thinking that the author is actually going to like divulge on some like important information. But no, they're just literally taking screen caps from Twitter or Reddit or whatever and just copy pasting what was said and on the website. It's like I could have went there and looked at that myself. You're not giving me any extra information. It's that burns me up a little bit. So yeah, this doesn't actually fall under either of those, but just to preface this by saying I already hate articles, and this wasn't a step in the right direction for me specifically. Um, it was about the Overwatch character Lucio, this black person. I don't remember if it was a woman or a man who was writing the article. I think it was a woman, but I again I don't really remember. Who said they got their what do you call it? Theory. They got their theory about Lucio's hair in Overwatch confirmed by the devs. That's a catchy title. I'm like, fine, yeah, sure, I'll click on that. And she starts by talking a little bit about the diversity in Overwatch and how she or he or whoever they are, always loved Lucio as a character. Um, how he basically just talks about Lucio a little bit or whatever. And but they kind of this is a thing that I didn't address in my Overwatch episode, but the author kind of uh writes it kind of like how Lucio was his character the whole time, which I know that doesn't really make much sense if you don't know Overwatch. But if you're playing Overwatch from the beginning, Lucio was kind of just racially ambiguous. He was kind of just black. He wasn't from like a specific place. I don't I don't think I talked much about that in the original episode. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But it wasn't till after a while he became like Brazilian. He even has like this his first anniversary outfit. It's called Jazzy, and it's like New Orleans. Like the first year of Overwatch, at least, he was not like confirmed Brazilian. At least I don't think. I might be wrong about that. Again, I'm not doing much research for this, so I'm sorry if I'm spreading misinformation. But I do not remember that at least being a very big part of his character until later on. But anyway, that's one issue that I had with it. And she talks about how Lucio's hair it looks terrible in the game. It starts he's kind of like got this. It looks like either big locks or just cornrows that kind of go up into the center of his head, and then it goes out into like these really big like pool noodles, which are supposed to be dreadlocks. And the author says um, it always bugged them because it looks so unnatural or whatever, and goes to talk a little bit about black hairstyles in video games, which is something that I may talk about myself. That's an important topic, but different time, different time. Um, so the author, had a chance to speak to the Overwatch devs and brought it up to them and said that the theory was that's not his actual hair. That it's kind of just like a thing that he puts on his head, kind of like dead mouse or whatever. And the devs were like, "Yep, that's true. Your head canon is true. Like, yes, that is actually a thing. Good theory. Good job. You were right." And the author goes on to explain the happiness and all that. And I'm sorry, but stop spreading this misinformation about the Overwatch devs secretly, fucking being on our side all along. Like, oh yeah, we did that on purpose, made his hair look shit on purpose. No, that was his hair the whole time. That they're confirming your headcanon for this is big company confirming your headcanon to look cool. Okay, that was not their plan all along. I'm sorry. This is J.R. Tolkien, not J.R. Tolkien. I'm sorry. What's her fucking name? Harry Potter books. I know hers also starts with like a J. J.K. Rowling. I'm sorry, I said J.R. Tolkien did the Lord of the Rings. But yeah, this is her going back and talking about characters are gay and stuff. Like that wasn't the original intent, and it feels wrong to me. Like I feel betrayed, black person to black person, that you're like full on like co-signing this. Um, Whoever you are out there, random journalist. Um, yeah, the article did not sit well with me, so I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit here. Sorry if that turned into a rant. I wasn't really supposed to. Um, but yeah, that was a bit not upsetting, but I guess I was frustrated about it, and I was like, come on, like no, that's I know that's not what that is, and don't try to pass that off as what that is. Don't give them a pass. They don't need that right now. Like, and it goes back to the I get it. You're a journalist and you're just trying to, you know, make the content you need to make ends meet. So like, sure, go off sis or bro or whoever you are. But it was frustrating to say the least. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about, I did say there were two things, right? Well, oh right. I made an episode about Atlanta episode 1 of season 3, which I really enjoyed. Um, they also made another kind of like anthology type episode, disconnected from the main story. Um, Season 3, episode 4, about reparations, which I thought was hilarious and great. but it wasn't as like jam packed with like subtlety and nuance as the other one was. I mean, it definitely had some stuff in there. Maybe I will make a podcast episode about that if it's requested enough. But for now, I just wanted to say I'm loving season 3 so far, and he said season 4 is gonna be even better. You know I all right. I mean, fucking if you say so, man. I'm ready. But yeah, season 3 is great so far. So let's go ahead and get into watching what doing what we came here to do. Today we are going to be watching. I'm going to be watching. I don't think you are. I mean, you might. You can watch along. You can't watch along, but so the harder they fall is what I'm gonna be checking out today. It's a movie I saw before once. I had initially rated it like a 9 or an 8 out of 10. So I'm gonna do the thing that I do where I talk about my thoughts that I had, just kind of remembering seeing it, and then I'm gonna watch it again, and I'll come back and further elaborate on it. I'm also going to be doing the thing that I've been doing where I like kind of keep little notes here and there, I think, but I already have uh, I already have like thoughts about this movie written down elsewhere. Um, so yeah, maybe I won't do that. I don't know. We'll see. I'll play it by ear. But what I have about it so far, I like that we're finally acknowledging black cowboys. It is my understanding that the majority of cowboys were black, and the ones that weren't were mainly native peoples to the Americas, whether that be like the and coming from Mexico, or the ones running from the East Coast, or whatever. Um, but yeah, that was mainly cowboys, as my understanding, and it's been whitewashed for a while. I actually had this idea to make a black cowboy video game, but that's neither here nor there. Um, when the movie dropped, I was very excited because I was like, "Oh, black cowboys!" And I really enjoyed it the first time. I had a great time with it. There were glaring issues that were hard to miss. And I don't think I'll talk about them too much yet until after I watch it, because I don't think I'm gonna forget about them. Um, my first gripe with it was it felt a little too predictable for me, but I think I can't really fault it for that, it being a western, and stories are kind of just predictable in general a lot of the time. It's hard to really find one that'll like really knock your socks off. I think Knives Out was a good one that did that recently for me. Um, but yeah, I can't really fault it for being like predictable. I mean, it's got to be rooted in history in this kind of way anyway. But there were certain parts of it, like this character gets introduced in the beginning, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I already know how he's gonna die, like 3 minutes in. Um, but yeah, that's all I'll say about it beforehand. Let's just go ahead and watch it. I'll be back, and for me, like, I don't know, 2 hours. How long is this thing? And for you, however many seconds this intro or not intro, intermission music takes. Usually like 5 to 10 seconds. So I'll see you soon. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. To well, you're still on the same podcast, but if you paused at that point to watch the movie, um, then you've also just seen the movie. So welcome back in that case. But otherwise, let's just continue. So what I want to try to do here, it's a little different than how I did the Underground Railroad. I want to try and I want to first get the things out of the way that I didn't like, and then talk about the things I did like, and kind of come to like a final conclusion at the end, instead of like going beat by beat of like what I remember and going in order in that way. Um, so yeah, let's see how that goes. All right. So things I didn't like. There aren't many, but they are noticeable and have to be addressed. Um, there is this weird issue of colorism, specifically with the female leads. The cast is like super black, all black, blacky black, and dark black in most cases, like real, very true dark skinned folks, except for the two leading ladies. They're both noticeably lighter than the rest of the main cast, which I mean, it was noticeable to me. It was a bit jarring. Um, and I don't know. I'm just, it's like, ugh. Even in such a good film as this, I really enjoyed the film. We just can't seem to escape from this colorism issue that seems to happen a lot, mainly with the women. There is a third woman in the main cast, uh, and she is Cuffy is her name in the movie, and she's specifically portrayed as like this tomboyish, like extremely tomboyish, maybe even like gay near the end. I don't know. Like there's a kiss on the cheek. Anyway, not important. And there's nothing wrong with boyishness or anything like that at all. It's just like it seems to be perpetuating this idea that like darker skinned women aren't as womanly and can't be beautiful in this other way. And it definitely, I know it's probably not trying to say that, but it's giving that message, which I didn't enjoy, personally. Speaking of the leading ladies, that kind of goes into Stagecoach Mary, portrayed by Miss Beats, Zazie Beats. It was great. I love her, especially in Atlanta. Um, but yeah, I mean that's kind of like the epitome of this issue, and then I kind of have other issues with her as well. Um, but and so they say in the beginning that all of the characters portrayed, so the story is fictional, but all the characters portrayed were real life people, which I think is awesome. And I remember this coming about back when this movie first came out, late or early fall last year or whatever. Um, People like actually looking up Stagecoach Mary and finding out she's like this absolute unit. Like she's like fucking 6 foot something. She's like this huge like woman. Um, dark skin. I can't really picture her right now, but she's like powerful in this kind of way, physically. Um, and that is completely that's completely lost in this film. So that's kind of the epitome of the colorism kind of. And they're real people, so let's try to at least get like as close to the representation as we can, I suppose. I mean, I know we got it. We're using it's a star-studded cast and all that. We got Idris in there. We got a guy from Lovecraft and also Loki. Um, oh, and fucking Homer's in here from Underground Railroad. That was interesting. Um, but yeah, anyway, she is yeah, that's Stagecoach Mary. And a lot of my issues stem around and from this portrayal of Stagecoach Mary, kind of like unwittingly in a way. I also don't like how her romance with Nat Love is portrayed. It's like this really annoying, like, oh, love hate, like, it's toxic, and she hits him, but then she's gonna have sex with him, and it's kind of irritating. Um, Conversely, I won't talk about this later. I do want to bring it up now, though. Um, the other guy, there's so many names. Buck, what's his first name? Uh, the bad guy though, the Idris and Trudy. I know that's her name. Um, their relationship is portrayed very great. I like theirs. It's fun, nice little portrayal of black love there. It's not really, um, they don't really go too far into it though. It's which is another gripe, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Kind of continuing going from the stagecoach Mary problems. She's relegated to the role of damsel in distress. Um, and that kind of like I don't have necessarily an issue with the trope of the damsel in distress, but it highlights another issue that I have with the film where it's like a bunch of stuff happens that just feels like filler and fluff and unnecessary. Like she has this really stupid plan to go into the town the night before for no reason really, then instantly gets caught because of course she does because she's recognizable and all this stuff. And yeah, it's just it's like why even why do that? Like what I mean, I get you gotta move the plot forward, but can it make sense just a little bit? You know, like it feels like some events just happen to move the plot forward instead of like happening like character driven in a sort of way. Um, so yeah, that's the thing that I did not enjoy. I believe that's the end. No, there is one more Stagecoach Mary problem that I forgot. I'll get into a little bit specifics here because it's kind of they have like these silly like this is kind of like the fluff and filler that I'm talking about. Where I feel like this movie could have been trimmed down. It feels a bit long. It's less than 2.5 hours. It's like 2 and 15 maybe. Um, but it feels long, and I feel like they could have cut some of this unnecessary stuff out. There's this point where before, you know, the night before the everything goes down, she's all like, when this is over, I'm leaving, like we're done, I never want to see you again. And then at the end, nothing's changed. There's no resolution that was reached there at all, but she just rides off into the sunset with him. And it's like, why put that in there if it's not even gonna matter in the end? Why even have her say that if you're not gonna resolve it? Like, what was that about? You know. But that's the end of my Stagecoach Mary problems. I think good actress. She did a good job. Yeah. What else? There was this kind of weird scene with like this blue dancer that was I don't know why that was in there. It's kind of weird and didn't feel it felt out of place within the West setting. Um, I don't know, just kind of. And the black folk that I know in my life wouldn't be like just eating and drinking and just like ignoring this weird blue lady dancing all over the tables and shit. They'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?" But black people aren't a monolith. No one's a monolith, and I'm sure I don't know. Maybe it's someone would be into that, but not many people that I know. The last issue that I had isn't really an issue. This one's kind of like on the line between like it was just really like gory and bloody and graphic. On the one hand, I'm not really into that, but on the other hand, it is like just being realistic and it's a western and that's kind of just like that's it's a western. That's it was fucking it's violence, and we'll get into that kind of in my summation of the thing as a whole. But now let's talk about the stuff I liked about it, the good stuff. Um, First of all, like when you first get into the movie, it's aesthetically it is amazing. This movie is such a goddamn vibe. It takes the western thing that does it amazingly. Like the open credits scene is very very cool. There's a lot of good scenery and like cinematography. Um, I don't want to go too fast and run over everything, so I'll kind of just take it step by step. The movie it's such a vibe though. Like seriously, it's very very cool. The music is great throughout. Um, Scenes that I enjoyed that kind of have like this aesthetic vibe, cool thing going on. Um, when Nat's first riding into the town, that was pretty cool. Kind of like when they're all on horses, that happens a few times. There's this one point in the train scene. Cherokee Bill pulls out his gun, and everyone pulls out their guns behind him, and it's kind of like reminiscent of like the multiple arms thing, an Indian thing. You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that was fun. Uh, I like the set pieces. I think that kind of falls under cinematography. But like when they would go to like a different town and the text would pop up, but sometimes the people would be in front of the text but it's like kind of in between the people in the background. Just very, very cool stuff all around. It's a very well shot, very well put together movie, and I enjoyed that. It's very, very eyeball good. Um, yeah, I noticed in the beginning. First, it's a pretty funny movie. There's lots of good jokes. Um, but like, it felt like they feel like real people, and not just any real people. They feel like real black people. It feels like, when we think about the past, we think, oh, these fucking like Shakespearean English talking men, like, oh, doth that, but nah, they were just like regular. They're just human like us, and it really felt that way. Like, even, of course, they've got like the slang and the lingo of the time period and setting, being the West, the Old West, Wild West. But they're still just like regular black folk, which I very much enjoyed. Another thing that I was really into was the train scene. Everything about the train scene, like, oh my god, if this was just the train scene, easily very good, like, just excellent all the way through. I loved it, and it kind of, when I first watched this and I talked about it with loved ones of mine and such. There's not really good guys and bad guys. Like, yeah, I mean, clearly we're supposed to be rooting for Nat Love and his gang, and they're the protagonists. But the bad guys aren't really bad guys. I mean, everyone on both sides has kind of done some villainous, heinous shit. Um, Rufus Buck is his name. Rufus in particular was he's got this town which he helped build, I guess, but then he's trying to keep it. They don't go into it much, which is kind of annoying because I feel like they could have cut some of this other fluff out and kind of fleshed out Rufus and his relationship with um, Trudy. How did I forget her name already? I'm pretty sure it's Trudy. And like his ideals for the town and stuff like that. Like, that stuff could have been fleshed out more. Um, because there's this point he has to raise money because he doesn't want the white folks to come into the town, presumably. So he has to kind of like buy it up or whatever. I don't know. They don't get into it much, but I feel like they could have, and kind of made this more morally gray stance. Like, it feels like they were trying to do that, but it kind of fell flat in a way. And even if they weren't trying to, there's so much charisma on both sides. Like, you can't really, you like everyone more or less. Um, I also liked the White Town. This is the second time I've watched this movie, and I laugh every time the White Town comes up. It's very funny, and also a very good scene. Um, and there was a very good twist ending. The ending was, I wasn't expecting it. Even though the rest of it's quite predictable as a Western, like, the cocky, fast gunslinger loses to the fast, smart, experienced gunslinger, shit like that. Um, but yeah, the ending I didn't expect, and then it also kind of rewards rewatches in a way, because I saw stuff the second time through or noticed things I didn't notice the first time. Mainly in the beginning, and then when Rufus Buck first captures Nat Love. Um, but yeah, it was good. So now I'll take some time here to talk about uh, kind of just like wrap things up now. All in all, this is a story about black folk just set in the West, set back in the day. There's, we have all these like familiar issues and these generational curses. It just feels like the black plight, or specific parts of it. They're trying to kind of build their own town and escape from the white folks. And they talk a little bit about how being in a rock and a hard place. That's just life as a black person in America. And yeah, so I don't know. It kind of filters back into the idea how it's kind of just regular black folk. Um, and they're just trying to live their lives, and they're just trying to survive in the situation that they find themselves in, which is why I think another reason why the violence is kind of, I'm a bit touchy on it in this movie specifically, because it's just black people and more black people. It's black on black violence. Who's down who's really down with that, you know? Um, yeah, and there's this whole it's not entirely cyclical storytelling, you know, it doesn't really start where it began or anything, but you can tell that I don't even know where I was going with that sentence. Sorry, I'm getting a bit tired. I'm usually headed to bed by now. But I feel like I had another point here. Let me look at my notes real quick. Um yeah, there's this idea of like violence begetting violence, and the end of it, so it raised some questions. You know, it didn't really answer everything neatly for me, and it also didn't really feel like it wanted to. Like maybe it was supposed to raise questions. It also ends on a cliffhanger as well. Um, I personally wouldn't see this getting a sequel. I mean, I'm sure they could do it, but they killed so many of the good people. I mean, who would I don't know. It didn't seem like it needed a sequel. I think it was just like being a western, and that's kind of just like a shot of the villain at the end or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I feel like spoilers. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely watch it. This is a watch, by the way. Maybe I should give these number scores. I'll get back to that in a minute. But why? I don't know. I don't know. Why do you have to kill him? Well, I don't. It's a lot. I'm gonna leave it at that. Um, good story. Let's give it a number score. Let's start doing number scores. I think people are into that. Um, so first I'll explain my number scores in depth for anyone who would like to know how my number scores go. I will start from top to bottom, giving examples of each. Uh, so it's a 10-point rating scale. A 10 out of 10 obviously being at the top, 1 out of 10 being all the way at the bottom. 10 out of 10 is something that is absolutely perfect. And this scale can be used not only for TV, but like, movies and TV shows. It can be used for music, it can be used for food. Like anything that you consume as a human being, you can use this list for. So I would give a 10 out of 10 to something that I consider to be absolutely perfect. Ultimate perfection. Could not be improved in any way. Either that or a personal favorite could also get a 10 out of 10. Some things that I would consider a 10 out of 10. Childish Gambino's album Awaken My Love. Pretty much anything my mom cooks. Naughty Dog games like The Last of Us. First two Star Wars movies, A New Hope and Empire. Shit like that. 10 out of 10 for sure. Um, then we have the 9 out of 10, which is that's the pretty damn good. It's almost perfect, but it does have flaws that can't be ignored. And it's something that like you can consume regularly, whether that be, eating or watching or listening or whatever. Black Summer's Night by Maxwell. It's a great album that I really love. Not perfect. There's like one or two songs that, depending on my mood, I'll skip over. But all in all, it's a great album to listen to in a variety of situations. Usually at night, walking. Comedy Bang Bang is a show that I love, and I'm so sad they took it off Netflix. But I consider that a 9 out of 10. Even though I know all the jokes, it's still funny. I don't know why. Now we have a 8 out of 10. That's just very good. On here would be things that are excellent. They reside on a playlist or watch list or whatever kind of list, but you don't really consume too often. Like sushi. You like sushi. Sushi's good. You're not gonna eat sushi every day though. It's better to have it once in a while. Mr. Robot, a show that I like. I've seen it maybe twice now, and I feel like I don't want to watch it too much because it's but maybe if like I wait a few more years, I'd probably watch it again. That kind of thing. Room 25 by No Name. Love her. Great album. I don't listen to it all the time though. Like it's, I gotta be in the right mood. We have The Seven, which is middle good. These are things that are nice, they're enjoyable, but not without faults. They're nice to come back to every now and then. It's basically the medium of the line good. Things that I would consider here: Let's Get Free by Dead Prez, um, Rick and Morty. That's fine. Then we have the 6 out of 10, which I call the bad good. This is a thing that is fairly mostly good. It usually doesn't hold up to scrutiny. You know, it's very flawed, but it still works. Things like Chick-fil-A and The Force Awakens, the Star Wars movie episode, is that 9? No, 7. 7. No, 8. 7. 7. Yeah, it's 7, sorry. Yeah. Personally, I think it works, but I don't like, I don't know. It's Chick-fil-A, you know? Then we have 5, the lukewarm. This is meh, forgettable. It's not really bad or good, like Domino's Pizza, you know. Then we have 4, the good bad. That's the conversely of the bad good. This is lovable trash. It's bad, but it's good. Like Hoodwinked. I like that movie, even though it's kind of shit. Candy. It's good, but it's not good. Then we have the 3 out of 10. The quite bad. This is stuff that can technically be stomached. There are good qualities here and there, but ultimately it's irredeemable. Things I'd put here: The Legend of Korra. Did I mention that Avatar: The Last Airbender is a 10 out of 10? I feel like that goes without mentioning. But Legend of Korra is down here. Um, there are things about I've watched through it. I don't hate it just because that's the cool thing to do. I've tried watching it at least twice, maybe thrice. And yeah, it's no, no. Peas. I like peas. Sorry, I'll eat them if they're in like a mixed vegetables. But just yeah, usually just don't include those in my meal, please. Then we have 2, which is the bad, bad, very bad category. Pretty much just a stinking pile of cat doo doo. Save for like 1 or 2 redeemable qualities. Likely could not get through a second time, or you could probably force yourself to, or if it's been a really long time, you could. But you're gonna feel that second time. I'd put Star Wars Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones here. Also Twilight. I'm sorry, that movie is bad. Or maybe the first one might even be a 3, but the ones after that slowly get lower. I mean, the first one might even be a 4. I'm not too sure. I'm not lovable trash for me. I don't love it, honestly. Maybe a 3. Anyway, then we have the 1 out of 10. This is utter garbage, utter horseshit. This is the literal vomit category. This thing should not exist. It's literally the worst. It fails in every aspect. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the children's movie Atlantis: The Lost Empire. That's ultimate perfection. That's 10 out of 10. Its sequel, 1 out of 10. Oh my god. I saw a good 10, 15 minutes of it, and I had to turn it off. It was horrendous, and I am so sorry that ever happened. I really want to know the story behind that one. I bring up these things because they're things I'm probably not ever going to talk about on this podcast, because again, this is the specter of anti-blackness, and a lot of this isn't black stuff. But if you're a person who likes this stuff, you kind of know where I stand on it now. And if you've seen it, and you also know the quality of it, or seen it, or eaten it, or heard it, or whatever, then you kind of have a better feel for my list. So that leaves us with the question: where is The Harder They Fall? And also, will I go back and rate other things? Going by my list, I would give The Harder They Fall an 8 out of 10. I would call it excellent, but it's not really something that I would consume too often. If I'd put it on a watch list, like, oh, I gotta watch, like, black movies of different mediums, like, oh, black western, this is definitely going on that list. Um, but it's just like something I'd pop in when I'm bored, or, no, probably not. I did feel the length watching it through on the second time. But still, I thought it was very good. Atlanta, I rated a 10 out of 10. What else have I done on this show? Underground Railroad. What would I give the Underground Railroad? That's a great question. The watchability of the Underground Railroad is kind of a pain point for me. I don't know how often I would watch the Underground Railroad, but in terms of like quality and story and things like that, it's definitely 10 out of 10. Um, but maybe with the whole like watching thing, maybe it can only be a 9, because clearly there's something about I don't I mean no, I just no I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because there are things that like I wholeheartedly love that I just wouldn't be able to do every day. You know, you can't eat the same meal every day, even if it's your favorite. So I'll give Underground Railroad a 10 out of 10. Overwatch, I give a current state, maybe 4 out of 10. Maybe it's lovable trash right now. When it first started, um, 8 or 9. Maybe a 9. It definitely had flaws that couldn't be ignored, but I definitely played it all the time. And I'd say current state, yeah, it's probably lovable trash. And lovable is even, I barely play anymore. What else have I talked about here? Let me think. Let me think. Commercials obviously suck. Um, Hate them. 1 out of 10. Uh, hmm. Oh, my Miles Morales. I talked about Miles Morales. Miles Morales, I'd have to give a 3 out of 10. Ultimately irredeemable. It's bad. It's not good bad because I did not enjoy it. It's not local trash. It is I technically I could stomach it. I did stomach it. Uh, I 100%ed it finally. And then I deleted it and I never want to see it again. I got through it just out of principle, I feel like. And yeah, bad game. What have I talked about that I'm not remembering? Oh, right, Black Panther. Um, I feel like initially, like when I first saw it, Black Panther, I probably would have given a 5 out of 10. Maybe, no, I would have given it a 6 out of 10. That's the bad good, like fairly mostly good, but it doesn't hold up the scrutiny. These days, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Pretty damn good. Almost perfect, but there are still flaws. I think that's everything that I've reviewed here so far. Um, and yeah, stay tuned. Check out the next episode whenever that. If you're in the future, it's probably already out. Wouldn't hurt to just pop over and see what I'm talking about. Think like I don't even know. You're living in some future world where like that's already been decided and done. I'm st- I'm stuck perpetually on April 420, April 20th of 2022, and yeah, let me out. I'm stuck here inside this recording. Anyway, thanks for listening. Oh my God, I didn't do my. Oh no, that's at the end. Sorry. So yeah, this is the part where I do the thing. I thought of a lot of things too, and Okay, here's one. I hope that um you whenever you're eating something that's like possible like good choking hazard, like easy to kind of get stuck in there. I hope you don't choke, and if you do, like it clears up really fast. Like you don't get one of those coughs that just like stay with you for the whole day. Cause like it still feels like it's in your throat. Hope that doesn't happen. I hope you just have a very clean, good eating experience. And it tastes good, obviously. Don't eat something that tastes bad. Unless you're into that, in which case, okay. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. I'm going to bed now. I set this up perfectly. It is now usually the time I sleep. So thanks for listening. I'm going to bed. You keep doing your day. Until the next time. Thanks for listening, everybody.